judges and journalists and just the public in general, opinion makers in particular, do not really understand that in life you must constantly question the narratives you believe so that you know that you are not engaged in confirmation bias. You are liking things and people because they correspond with your biases. And I think that for me has been the biggest failing of our judiciary and our public space and opinion making.
And at what point do you think this becomes dominant or it gets out of control? I mean, in these stages of, if I may to call it that way, judiciary administrations of Pius Langa, Ngobo, Mukweng, Chief Justice Sondo, and now
I think it's been a slippery slope. Consistently, you know, it's been and there may be individuals that are different. It's like the presidents in South Africa. We've been going down since Mandela. It's just that at different times we're caught up in euphoria and we don't see that things are going wrong. It's like, you know, New Year's Eve or Christmas.
Yeah.
You could celebrate and people are falling over from the balcony.
Yes.
So we've been there. It means we've been going down. I can't think of a point where philosophically we've gone up. Even during Mandela, we were at the height of the biggest compromise about our people. But we loved the man. We were tired. We were battle fatigued and everything looked right. We didn't even realize that white people loved Mandela but hated his race. We celebrated with him when he was singled out of us to be respected, when we were treated badly. We were unable to analyze that we had become slaves and our leader was a slave but a house one, loved and singled out from us, and we were insulted by the love shown to him and then disrespect to the black race. And so in a way, we celebrated leaders that I think were house niggers. And so we've not been able to analyze this because changing states do this. They create their own middle class. And the middle class is a group of people that come from the poor and become a buffer between the oppressor and those living in poverty. And most of us, you included and me, we are that buffer that keeps hoping that things are fine because you and me can live better. You have a double-storied house, and if you work hard, you will be fine. But actually, we are a buffer between an oppressive system and the ordinary people whose lives keep going down. So I think in both the judiciary and the entire political structure, we've been going down. And our leaders, Mandela in particular, great leaders, some of them, but they too, I think, suffered from an obsession with sainthood.
And do you think that this regression that you allude to was inevitable, or could it be avoided at all? Or is it a systematic regression that couldn't be avoided because of the political settlement that was reached in 1994?
Could be avoided. It could be avoided. The entire settlement for me was a problem. And people think I'm being ungrateful for the settlement. No. You know, every oppressive system in the world, even in biblical terms, the old systems do know when they've reached a cul-de-sac. And they have two choices. They usually extend the use of violence to suppress people completely, or they recreate themselves. And more sophisticated oppressive systems do what South Africa did. Apartheid is bad for capitalism. Apartheid is bad for white privilege. Not allowing black people to vote is bad for white privilege. So give them a few things that mean nothing. That was an old system, capitalist and oppressive white privilege system recreating itself.
Yeah.
It means what it did, you know, I call it the toilet spray syndrome. The smell was there. It was just, there was a spray. And our political settlement was to make sure that white privilege comes with credibility. And of course, that's why all of us, there's been more inequality since then. And we are on the side clapping. when we are going into the grave, because they recreated the system, removed things that delegitimized it, but it remained there. You still live where you live. Your mother still shares water with the donkeys. You'll never get out of that place. The mines are still owned by the De Beers and the Ruperts and everybody. We own nothing except a vote and hope for nothing.
Which part of the judiciary, do you think is at the point, at a crisis point? I mean, is it the labor side of things, or like in the different sections of the judiciary? There's human rights, there's labor, there's whatever. These sections you would know better.
Yeah, it's difficult to do that because, judges are hard and magistrates are hard at work as we speak. And it's like asking a teacher who was teaching under apartheid whether they are working hard. They were. It's like someone who's feeding a baby. You can't accuse them of not feeding a baby, but it depends on what it is they are feeding the baby with.
Yeah.
And so I think one of the problems is that because our philosophical outlook is entirely wrong, it doesn't matter how hard we work. So the judiciary is working hard maintaining a rotten system.
I get you.
So I can't